I started reading this book a couple of days ago. The book is called The Practice. I've only just about finished the first chapter, but I wanted to go through it a bit and share a few thoughts because it was quite interesting. Got the Kindle version here. On the first page, it says shipping because it doesn't count if you don't share it. And I mean, I'm intending to develop the habit of sharing more YouTube videos and creating content. Just reading a simple sentence like that motivates me. I find it inspiring just because I've made a lot of practice videos and I'd committed to filming a video a day earlier this year and I kept it up for about 2 months. But I think I need to do better on the shipping and sharing side of things. A couple sentences down, it goes, work because it's not a hobby. And I don't know how I feel about that because when you talk about hobbies, there's a connotation of it being fun and enjoyable. And also a sense of freedom because the connotation is you're doing it because it's a choice for fun and enjoyment. But I guess taken to an extreme, there's less emphasis on sharing and perhaps improving the world. If it's all hobby and sort of potentially selfish, I don't know if selfish is the word, but the benefits are all intrinsic kind of thing without too much emphasis on the value created. It also made me think because I made a lot of progress in my day job in the last year and I haven't had a choice to teach it like a hobby because when you go to work, there's more accountability, there are deadlines, there are more external factors just forcing you to do the reps and forcing you to show up and work. I think it's a given that you're not going to feel like you're not going to be inspired all the time. It definitely hasn't been fun all the time, although it has been fun a lot of the time. But part of the reason I've achieved so much is because of the accountability, because of the pressure, because of the deadlines, and because I couldn't treat it like a hobby. And in retrospect, it's a great thing. And I think the point here is, even if we're not getting paid for a creative pursuit, whether it be on the side or whether it be the main thing, we need to approach it like a professional. And I can vouch from experience, treating something like a professional feels quite satisfying, rewarding when you can see the results of doing so, as opposed to not putting in enough action and effort and feeling like we're not as far as we could be, let's just say. Sometimes I feel like that with YouTube or with these side hustles I'm working on. So it's definitely a reminder that even though it's a side hustle and even though I'm not getting paid for it, perhaps I need to treat it like a professional. A few sentences down, there's a reminder to focus on the input rather than the outcome. So it says, the practice is not the means to the output. The practice is the output because the practice is all we can control. So normally when I'm thinking about goals, and it's in the previous video of mine, the elements of great goal setting, we can break them down to input goals, output goals, and outcome goals. And the benefit of focusing on the input and perhaps the output to an extent, if it's relatively in our control, is that we can control it. I feel like they're reframing it a bit where they're saying the practice is the output. But the reason why they think it's such a good idea aligns with my thoughts too, because they say that the practice is all we can control, and that's the benefit. When we're focusing on the process and what we can do, those are meant to lead to the outcomes, whereas focusing on the outcomes too much, there's a potential to neglect or forget the importance of a proper process, right? The proper habits. So yeah, that's cool. And another reminder that the practice is simply what we do, whether or not we're in the mood. And it's something that's sticking with me at the moment. Perhaps it's because I'm about to leave my full-time job. So I'm reflecting on my time at my current company and the amount of growth and achievement I'm extremely proud of. And part of it was just doing it, whether or not we're in the mood, right? Not saying that's the only component. I'd have to say another really big thing is the environment and the mentors and the support. But the part I'm emphasizing now is that when there is accountability, we practice even though we don't feel like it. We're more likely to be professional, and I think that's a crucial ingredient. It also explains why I progress a lot more in my actual profession, in my day job, than I have in my side hustle pursuits, like the apps I'm building, and my creative pursuits, such as my YouTube channels. So it's just a really nice reminder. Some books, I feel, they're really good for the knowledge and the insights and the ideas. Some of them are good just because of the simplicity and the way they give advice and what they remind you about. There's a quote where it says, the important work, the work we really want to do, doesn't come with a recipe. It follows a different pattern. This resonates with me, and I think it's really important, especially as AI is currently exploding. When our work is a simple recipe, when it's a series of steps with a guaranteed outcome and guaranteed success, it just means that anyone could do it. And if anyone could do it, it's less valuable, right? If it's less valuable from a marketplace point of view, then in terms of career capital, it doesn't count for much, right? Because if there's a set recipe and all you need to do is follow it and the results are guaranteed, more people can do it. And also, AI is probably going to be able to do it soon, right? So who's cheaper? Who's more affordable and cheaper and more appealing from an employer point of view, right? They're going to hire someone to do it full time, or if it's that easy, just get some software to do it. Just get some AI software, which probably costs $100 a month. It doesn't complain, doesn't get tired. It's scalable, right? It's cheaper. So if you're doing a no-brainer kind of job, or you're looking to follow no-brainer recipes, then I guess it's a no-brainer that you're going to get outsourced sooner or later. That's the way I interpret this section, at least. It's quite relevant to the career capital strategy, where we try to build up our careers by finding unique and hard skills to do that are valuable from a marketplace point of view. And here it's just saying it can't be one which is so deterministic with a recipe with a simple outcome. Rather, what this book is promoting is it's saying we want to do something with creative contribution, something that not just anyone could produce, something that might not work, but that might be worth pursuing. And he calls this art, though I think his definition of art encompasses many things, not what we might traditionally view as art. It says, the practice is a journey without an external boss. Because there's no one in charge, this path requires us to trust ourselves. So having an external boss has a lot of benefits. I think we can actually get these benefits without needing an external boss. But the benefits I'm talking about are like pretty much accountability for taking action and being consistent. And if our boss gives us the plan, we don't necessarily have to trust ourselves because we just do it and we get paid. But if we don't have a boss, here it's saying, because there's no one in charge, the path requires us to trust ourselves. Doing something creative and that doesn't have guaranteed success, it makes sense. We need that ability to be brave and courageous, and to not default into comfort and guaranteed security. The way I'm currently trying to organize my life is I still need to do a day job, and it's mainly for financial security and financial responsibility, etc., etc. A big part of my life is meditation, which involves practicing meditation 2 hours a day, which is something I don't compromise on, and also attending meditation retreats and volunteering at meditation retreats every year. And now recently, I'm having a need to devote time to creative pursuits such as making videos and also developing apps of my own. But those needs more easily met when a job is fully aligned, as in where you satisfy the income, but it's also that creative pursuit. It's also something very meaningful and innovative and exciting, and it's all achieved in one. And I think it's a great standard to aim for, to have such a setup. The way I'm trying to do it at the moment, which is a recent development in my thinking, is to go for contracting roles. Because the last couple of years when I've been working full-time, I've been fortunate enough to find jobs which would let me take heaps of leave and heaps of time off. But it seems like it's a bit of an outlier situation, or I feel like I'm leaving it a bit up to luck that my employer will be cool with that and see it as a reasonable request. So I'm thinking to switch to contracting, and I'm hoping and I believe that I can acquire good contracting roles where perhaps I'll work for 6 months or 9 months, then take off perhaps 3 to 6 months to meditate and to work on my creative pursuits. Anyway, let's get back into the book. A good process can lead to good outcomes, but it doesn't guarantee them. I like this idea just because if the outcomes are guaranteed, then the rewards are likely to be low. But if the outcomes aren't guaranteed, it implies at least a certain element of risk where perhaps the rewards will be higher. And it implies a degree of innovation and doing something which creates a change or has an impact, right? There's no such thing as writer's block. It's cool. It just means we need to keep working. It goes with the theme of just showing up and working, whether we're in the mood or not, putting in the practice. When I think about my meditation practice, it really makes sense because we meditate every day, whether I feel like it or not. And after a few years, it really does become normal, and you don't really, it doesn't feel like there's effort. Yeah, and you continue to get the benefits. Whereas I find for habits which I guess I'm striving to develop, I don't have that degree of confidence yet, or the habit's not ingrained yet where I'll just do it without feeling, though I want to get there. So, and it includes things like non-work related things like exercise as well. So for exercise, I just want to show up and put an hour of work every day. That would be a worthy goal. And it's the same with filming videos and scripting videos and working on my apps. I don't want to be in a context where I'm finding reasons not to be consistent, let's just say. So reading these simple words, I'm finding very inspiring. We become creative when we ship work. I'm getting a similar vibe, and I guess I'm reading this at a time where different pieces of the similar types of advices are just hitting me. I'm sure if I were to read it again in a year, different bits would stick out depending on where I'm at. But I'm needing to ship work more. So for the important work, it says, the instructions are always insufficient. Makes sense. In my day job, I found a lot of learning when I'm around people who are really competent and I'm working with them and often alongside them. Like oftentimes, like in my case, I'll be pair programming or sitting beside somebody and just seeing how they work, and that type of learning, it's hard to just put down into a set of simple instructions, right? But then once you learn those things that are hard to learn or that aren't easy to learn from the textbook, the rewards are very high. The skill jumps are very high, as well as the confidence increases are very high. And it goes, for the work we'd like to do, the reward comes from the fact that there is no guarantee. Yeah, I guess that plays to that it feels more worth it, or it's really making a difference, and perhaps a sense of excitement, right? Or that you're doing something worthwhile that could be an impact. Because if there were a guarantee, it'd be too easy. And so it says the reward comes when in fact there's no guarantee, that the path isn't well lit, and that we cannot possibly be sure it's going to work. When I was at a startup and there was only 3 of us, like years ago, I felt like that was a similar situation where there wasn't a guarantee, the path wasn't well lit. It didn't actually work out, but it felt, at least to me, very worth it, the pursuit and the chances of success. Oh man, this is taking longer than I thought. It's already 30 minutes, so I'm just gonna take a break and sit on it, and perhaps later today or tomorrow I'm gonna continue, because I'm not even finished this first chapter. But hope that was useful. Catch you on the flip side. I'll see you soon.